Hey there, and welcome back to the Evolution podcast with Mac and Jenn. My name is Jenn, and this is Mac, and we are excited to be here today, aren't we?
Yep. Okay, so today we're going to talk about kind of like more or less happiness, abundance, different things like that. However, there's kind of a rule to it that says the person that's the happiest with the least will actually have far greater happiness than the person that is happy with the most. And let me put that into perspective, because some people are going to be like, well, what do you mean? Well, I want the most and I want the least and I want these different things. Well, the idea here is that somebody that wants to like win the mentality or get the relationship or get the finances, create this big win, you're so focused on the big win that you think it's going to make you happy, that's the lie. Right? That's the thing where you're looking at it saying, well, I just need this and then I'll be happy, like blah blah whatever. But yet the person that is satisfied with today, everything that happened today, every last little thing from the time they were asleep to waking up, to the distractions, to the disruptions, to the frustrations, all of it, the more you can find happiness in everything, that's when you find happiness, not when the big thing comes in. Therefore, if you stay happy, right, then what do you think you're going to manifest? You put yourself in a high vibrational state, and the size of that which you manifest is irrelevant. The emotion that you manifest from is where it becomes the power. So does that make sense?
I think so.
You think so?
It just makes me think of me back in the day when I wasn't happy, I didn't feel happy, and I always thought things were going to make me happy. Like I remember I was like I wanted a bigger house. And I was like, that'll make me happy.
Okay, so question.
Yeah.
You've had a big house.
Mm-hmm.
You've had a little house.
Mm-hmm.
Which one have you been the happiest in?
I've been the happiest in my little house.
So far.
So far.
No.
Yes. But if I knew what I knew now, if I knew then what I knew now in my bigger house, I would have been happy in my big house too.
Yeah. It's not the size of the house.
It wasn't the size of the house, but I always thought, like, when I was in a smaller home and I was unhappy, I said, what will make Jenn happy? We got to move. Moving will make me happy. Yeah. And then we moved into a bigger house, and Jenn, it worked for like a minute.
Like then, everything, right?
But
like
then I was
in the trophy.
Yeah, like I won the lottery, won the trophy, and got excited.
And then it fades.
And then it faded, and I was unhappy again. And I actually see this with people like in relationships who think that like maybe a baby will make them happy.
Like, here, we have a fire. Let's throw gasoline on it.
Let's have a baby. That'll work.
Yeah, that's the most destructive thing right there. Like, if there's anybody listening, if you think that having a kid is going to solve your problem, please do not fuck up a kid for your security, because that's essentially what will happen a lot of times. It's like, oh, this will fix it. No, it doesn't fix it. Like, there's an internal error that we have to address to get ourselves right before we try to bring somebody else in the world. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not meant to be. God does it by design, but don't think that something big is going to fix your problem. You can fix you by going internally and being grateful.
Is there a name, or is it called something when you're like chasing happiness? Is there a name?
There's probably a lot of names for that.
Like a destination.
Need something there?
I dropped my
chapstick.
Yeah.
Well, it's
thank you.
It's just, the reality of it is like probably it's a comparison issue. People that compare themselves to everybody else in the world, where it's like, oh, I need this to be happy. Well, why aren't you happy with what is? Yeah, you could say comparison, but most of the time that's because we're dissatisfied with something we created. I could be very unhappy of a certain financial situation because of a divorce, right? Like, it cost a lot of money, a lot of debt, a lot of things to take care of. But, I could look and say like, oh, she did it. She's the problem. If it wasn't for her, and blame and blame and blame. that would all just be pointing at me saying, well, those were all my choices. At any time, I could have walked away and not been in that situation. I could have done something different. However, that's what I did. And it just is. And so most of the time we'll get uncomfortable with that because we don't want to admit it to everybody. It's hard for anybody to be like, oh yeah, all this, I don't know, debt, discomfort, failure, addictions, all these things are because of something else. When the reality is no, it's just because of us. And we don't like to admit that. But once you admit it and decide you want something different, then you get to address it. And then there's just a slight delay in getting there sometimes. But as you get there, you typically get happy because you're no longer trying to avoid a discomfort. And I don't know, personally for me, I mean, I've had a lot of discomforts, but I started finding the good in them instead of looking at the bad in them. Even earlier today, I was talking about pain and saying like I'm grateful for it because it's some of the defining moments that made me who I am. If it wasn't for the pain that I went through and actually allowed myself to just sit in it and feel it, like when you're like crying and everything, you sit in it and feel that pain. And then it's like it gives you answers because it's a deep emotion. And when you're in that place, that's when there's things that you might not know today, but yet you want to go here, but you don't know what it is. And then something happens and it hits you and the pain sets in and you allow it in and it's like magic where all of a sudden you'll just get a cognition of like, this is what I need to do. This is what I don't need to do. And it's just like things just come in instantly and like answers come in. So, being able to be, I guess it sounds weird, but it's the ability to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. And typically, that being said, it's the ability to be content in very uncomfortable feelings, right? Because everything is a feeling. But if you avoid the feelings of frustration, pain, hurt, betrayal, things like that, then it can mess with you. Or even if you get into the ego side of things of embarrassment, things like that, where you have to start seeking, like, oh, I need this to make me happy. This next thing will make me happy, and you just continue chasing it. That's when I don't know. I don't think there's any kind of specific word for it. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good what you said.
I need to ask you another question.
I don't know. Yeah.
So like what's something, like you said, the big house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I've always been going after the relationship stuff my entire life. But the reality is there's so much I would almost say that it's the little things. And I know that sounds like what everybody says, but there's the little moments when maybe even somebody does something that's a little bit different or in their own way. It's like original, but it's not some big extravagant thing that someone pulls off, but it's this original characteristic that becomes very unique and inspiring. And that's something that I think is like one of those things that when you get happy, when you find the good in things and the little things, that's when it's like you don't worry about the big shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I would say in the past, when you were 20, mid-20s or whatever, how big of a concern was it with money? Like, what if there wasn't money? What would you do?
There wasn't as big of a concern with money back in the day, I don't think.
Not with you? For me, there always was.
Not as much. I remember when I moved to Colorado, I moved here with pretty much nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first time I went to the grocery store in Colorado, I overdrafted my account and I was like, oh, I should pay attention to this money thing.
and for me, the money was it was always a thing, but now it's like
I guess it was a thing. It just
it'll
wasn't
be there.
A thing.
I just think, oh, I'll figure it out. It'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't define my life. It doesn't. I don't see it as if I don't have this money, someone's going to see me differently. That doesn't apply anymore. Right. Like, it's like I do or I don't, it has nothing to do with who I am and my character. Whereas before I thought it did. I thought, oh, I need to make the money. I got to have the status. I got to run the business. I got to do these things in order to feel important, or I don't know, have some stature.
Well, I think that all wraps into like you seeking happiness from outside source and validation too. I think that as you become more content with yourself, then you stop seeking that validation from everyone around you, and it's easier to just like be happy because you don't need people to. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah. Basically, what you're saying is when you begin to see the truth that no one is perfect, right? Like when you realize that somebody might have a lot of money and they don't really care how much money you make, but yet when you don't have it, you seek the approval of someone else. And so we have this tendency to think that, oh, I have to get here to get the approval, to get, to be content or even fulfilled. And typically that comes from an upbringing. If you find yourself as a perfectionist, it probably means you weren't supported very well, or you would do things and not feel like you were getting love. But it also could just be the stories in your head, right? Like, if you create stories, you're not necessarily going to get what you're looking for. But if you just continue to grow and continue to move forward, you'll get more answers. But really, you want to focus on that vibrational frequency and feeling of, how do I get happy with everything? How do I turn this little thing into fun? I talked about,
or how do I get happy with nothing?
Yeah, essentially.
Is that what you meant to say?
Well, when I say everything, I'm talking about like everything that I have
With everything.
currently, right?
Even if that everything is nothing.
Yeah, even if it's nothing, or let's say, I don't like.
How do you find happiness in the midst of chaos?
Or just in your current place, right? Somebody can have a roof over their head, everything else, but their car's not good enough. And so they're unhappy because something isn't good enough. The food wasn't good enough. The clothes aren't good enough. The way I was treated wasn't good enough. The love wasn't good. Like, you can either see the negative in it, or you can see the good in it, right? And there's the interesting thing is you can go around and find people that don't have any of the stuff that you want, and yet they're super happy and content, and they're loving life. And then somebody will inevitably, I know this will come up, somebody will be thinking, yeah, but if I am happy with that, I'll never change. You know what I mean? What I'm talking about? If I allow myself to be satisfied with the status quo, then I'll never push myself to get more. Right? That's a lie that is often told.
Mm-hmm.
And someone will reference it like this. Yeah, well, look at these people in Africa, right? They don't have shit, but they're super happy and they're super grateful and everything else. They just stay there. They never do anything else. That's them, not you. There are people in the world that are super happy with a lot less. There are people that are super happy with a lot more. You are individual. And you can go to any time in your life when you had a very positive, amazing moment, right? Like the best time, like, I don't know, think about it. Do you know possibly the best time moment in your life, or some of the best? So think of something that is like
I'm just
an
kidding.
achievement.
An achievement? I don't know. A super happy moment.
Yeah, like winning something.
There was I remember some like soccer games in high school where I like did really good.
Okay, so it's a good example. you have a good game, win the game, do really well in the game. Did that make you just want to be like, oh, I just want to stay right here?
No.
No, right? Like it's like, no, I want to go do it again. I want to do
Mhm.
more.
Mhm.
But yet there's this lie in everybody's minds that'll be like, yeah, but if I don't push myself and I don't, if I'm not unhappy with my current situation, then I'm not going to push myself to be better. And it's like, go to the place where you had one of the best moments, like you were winning, you got what you wanted, you were super excited. What did you want to do? You wanted to do more, didn't you? Right? Like you're ready to tear it up, and you had all this energy and like ready to go. And that's the reality. You got to create that type of energy around all the little things too, but you don't do it by letting go of the big things. You do it by getting happy with the small things,
Well,
or the everyday
that's
stuff.
what you teach in our membership.
Mhm.
You creating some wins, daily small wins over and over, just winning, 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 winning,
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah, there's like little things like action steps. There's how you set up your goals has to be done correctly. There's all these little different things. But for the point, the simple point is, if I were to wrap this up in like one little point, I guess it would be to say, if it's like, okay, it's snowing today. Some people may not like snow. I do, but let's say they don't like snow. If you find the bliss in the snow, like truly, don't lie about it, because that's not going to work. But if you truly find a way to reframe it, to find the happiness in it, then that's going to give you an energy that when you create that energy, it's going to help you manifest more of that energy. And so when you find a way to frame something to be happy about it, and then it happens that day, not only are you happy, creating a happy energy, but you're also creating a winning energy. And so when you combine those two and you do it over and over again with everything in your life, then you begin to manifest a very rapid pace, and it's abundant manifesting, not just I won the lottery and then 2 years later I'm bankrupt and broke and everybody hates me and all my relationships are destroyed because of money. Right? Like, and that's a metaphor for many other things, like whether it's the, oh, I got the relationship, it's perfect, blah 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 blah, and it's a lie, or I got the house and it's a lie, or or you haven't got it but you feel like you need it to be something. No, you don't need it. Okay, so anything you want to add into this?
I'm not really sure what to add into this.
No.
I don't
Any
know.
questions for me?
What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Like, well, you make me happy. What really makes I think one of the things that makes me the happiest is to see other people like win, or have a breakthrough, or an aha, or educate, like if somebody learns something for the first time and they're like, oh, and they're enjoying it, that seeing that, those are the things that really like hit, you know. It's like all of a sudden I can't speak for a second because the emotions are so strong. It's things like that, and especially with you and Cameron, those are the big moments. Or my other step kids, anytime they have a good solid moment of, they just like that fulfillment in those moments, and being able to be part of that, or even a client having an aha or a win or a good day, sharing it, in any of that stuff, being able to be a part of it is like a huge blessing. So that definitely makes me happy, and it's got nothing to do with what I get. It actually has to do with more with what I give.
Mm-hmm.
So what about you?
You're so sweet.
What about you?
um, yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing. You make me happy.
Yeah.
Watching other people win and seeing other people, like this morning, watching people on that gratitude call we did,
Yeah.
watching them open up and share and like speak from the, like open up from the heart, like that was making me really happy. Like my heart was smiling watching their hearts open up.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That makes me really happy. um I know that I feel day to day happiness by focusing on gratitude and what I do have to be thankful for. Um, while also um protecting my energy and not self-sacrificing.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't serve yourself to death. Like that's
Mhm.
not how it's supposed to be.
Kind of like a mixture of those things where I notice my energy, I take care of myself, I serve but I also serve others, celebrate others, give to others, even if I'm just giving them loving energy.
Yeah.
I think of that, and focusing on gratitude, that all right there is what makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
Getting my nails done today made me feel happy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, and
This tea really makes me feel happy right
there's
now.
sometimes that being when others bless me with their gifts or their service, I'm grateful for that too, and it does make me happy.
Mhm.
So okay, well, you know, just remember, if wherever you're at, just try to get it a little more, right? Like the point is to feel good or a little bit better. And most of the time, if not 100% of the time, the ability to feel good is based on how you frame what you're seeing or feeling. You know, you can take something and just tweak it a little bit. You know, I could say, oh, I don't have enough money, you know, I'm dealing with this, or my relationship is a little rough or rocky, or maybe I don't have a relationship, or whatever. And you're feeling like shit about it. You know, like if it's money, and I mean, think about the person that has a lot less than you, a third world country. You know, you're going to get grateful really fast. If you can so much as watch this, there's people in the world that can't. Put yourself in their shoes, and you'll find a way to be like, well, you know, but I mean, this may not be where I want to be, but that versus this, like, you know, I need to be more grateful. You know, no relationship, well, it can be a lot better than being in an abusive one, or being in one you can't get out of. You know, what if your relationship consists of a very controlling situation, right? Where you're pretty much chained down. That would suck. You know, be grateful that you have this space to be yourself and work on yourself. Both of us actually have had moments of being alone just to ourselves, and we still to this day cherish that time that we were able to like feel and kind of be in it and be grateful for it, and open the doors for new things. It's a weird thing to talk about, because someone that's never gone there, I don't know that you can understand it. I wouldn't have. But when it's the first time I really felt it was like back in 2013, where I spent a good long time just single. And I would date here and there, but or more like have conversations. There wasn't anybody worth dating back then, but um, it was still a blessing to be in that space. I had no fear of being single, but um, I just found what was good, and I let myself feel it, and I loved it. So be grateful, figure it out, reframe it. There's always a way to reframe things to love them anyways, even if that jackass is driving you crazy. Well, at least he's showing you not how to not be a jackass. Be grateful for it, laugh about it, be entertained by it. Whatever you have to do to reframe it, just keep in mind at the end of the day, even if this is what you have to do, to tell yourself, I just have to get myself in a vibrational state that will manifest what I want. And if you're not in that happier place, you have to realize, like, this is what I'm going to manifest more of. So is this what I want? Because if I don't change it, this is what I'm going to get. So if I continue down this road, it must be what I want. Right? Like, that's just the reality. If you're like, no, that's not what I want. Well, apparently it is, because there's a lot. I mean, go read a book, go do something different, listen to an audio, sing, listen to some music, do anything to raise your vibration. And if you're not willing to, then I'm going to tell you, yes, you do want to be miserable, because that's your choice. You can change it. So just keep that in mind. Use the different tools, whether it's a book, an audio. Um, just stop for a minute, sit in silence and reframe it so that you can get in that higher vibration. And for those of you that are like in high vibrations in certain areas of your life, go to those places to take them higher. Right. One of the easiest ways to raise your vibration is look at the area of your life where you're maybe dominating, and go there and kick it up a notch. Right. Take it a little higher. Let that emulate and get out there, broadcast, and bring more to you. So, all right. Good. Okay. So take it, use it, and be happy.
Yay.
All right. We'll see you guys next time, or we'll see you in the membership. So on Thursday.